This is Arkansas Roots on KASU. Good afternoon. I'm Marty Scarborough. Jonesboro musician Matt Dixon performs and records as Sugar Pills. He's just completed a new EP called Love Yourself that will be released next month. Matt recently joined me here in the studio to talk about the new recording project. I first asked him to describe the music that he writes and performs and records as Sugar Pills.
I'd probably describe it as definitely indie, like indie rock type stuff, but very, very like singer-songwriter soul influenced indie rock, because indie rock is such a wide,
Right.
It has such a wide breadth of connotation, but definitely very kind of with the indie rock with the R&B soul like twist,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's the most safe way to explain it to people.
Well, then, who are some of your musical influences? Who are some people that you listen to that you think, hey, this has had an influence on what I'm doing myself?
Man, so as far as stuff that probably like has influenced me with the Sugar Pills stuff, it's probably things that I've listened to as of more recent in my later teens and early 20s. I love Bill Withers.
Really? How did you get turned on to Bill Withers? I mean, someone from your generation how did you hear from Bill Withers?
Just being a kid and messing around on YouTube, and
Really?
I think I heard "Use Me" first, and I was like, man, this is dirty, And for me, Bill Withers kind of like he bridges the gap between like the soul and R&B type stuff of the 70s and 60s, and also like a very Americana like singer-songwriter stuff. So
Yeah, I can definitely see that, for
yes.
sure.
So
Well, who else?
I really like this more modern band called UMO, or Unknown Motor Orchestra, abbreviated UMO.
Yeah.
They're super cool. That was one of the big influences when I started Sugar Pills, just because I love his production quality, and his songwriting's awesome. I really like, have you ever heard of Richard Swift? He passed away earlier this year, but he played bass for the Black Keys. That's probably his biggest claim to fame.
Yeah.
But he had amazing solo records, an amazing producer, awesome songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. Yeah, so he was a really big influence on this record, especially. I could go on forever.
Well, tell us a little bit about the origins of Sugar Pills. How did this whole concept get started?
All right, so me and my friend Calvin Rollins, we were playing in another local band, not going to name it, and that disbanded because we got tired of dealing with certain personalities with singers, vocalists, all that, and so in the weeks after we left that band, like we mutually left that band, I was like, "Oh man, we need to get together." I was like, we should play some Black Keys songs or something, and so we got together, and the first night that me and him played together and jammed together, like the first notes I played on that guitar became the songs that would be on our little demo EP, and we recorded it all. Like we wrote it on a Thursday, and then we recorded it like Friday, Saturday.
Wow.
And then it was out within a week, just because I don't know, that was just the flow we were on. But the name Sugar Pills, it comes from, it's like a joke. I used to work here at ASU, and in the maintenance department at Res Life, and I always used to joke with my coworkers that one day I'm gonna leave here, I'm gonna start a band, I'm gonna start, because they I have the diabetes hat, and I have type 1 diabetes, and I always joke, I was like, I'm gonna be Beatus and the Sugar Pills, and then when it came time to actually start a band, I was like, well, that's a cool name, let's just spell it with an H at the beginning.
There you go. I'm talking with Matt Dixon of the group, or as Sugar Pills,
Yeah.
has just completed and released a new EP called Love Yourself. So you did this all in your home studio.
Yeah.
And tell us about the recording process.
So live with my grandma. She's great. She's awesome for letting me do all this loud banging noise music in her basement. But the recording process. So I've been recording since I was like 17. Just in a really like homespun capacity. So I've learned a lot. Just I'm the kind of person that I just kind of like bang my head into the wall until like I get it. I'm not the fastest learner, but like gosh darn it, I try, you know. So I always start with drums, and the only other person who plays on this record is Mr. Jacob Brumley. He's, you know, big ups to him. Much love to Jacob for helping me do this, because he's, you know, like 1,000 times the drummer I am. You know, I could have done it, but why would I do it when I could get Jacob? You know?
Yeah.
But so always start with the drums. Some of those songs I had written from like the summer, like I think, yeah, Valerie, that song, I wrote that during the summer, and Clammy I wrote during the summer, but Fight For You, Love Yourself, and Epilogue, those all happened like very quick, like almost pretty much after the recording process had started. Like we recorded Valerie and Clammy. Well, no, that's a lie. Clammy was the last song I recorded for this. Anyways, so the recording process was kind of also like intertwined with the writing process. Like I always like make demos by myself, and then I would like bring them to the band usually. But at this point, I was just bringing them to Jacob, being like, "Hey, can you know, let's make this professional sounding on the drums, whatever." Yeah, I could get into all types of specifics about what software I use and all that.
Well, I'm just amazed. We were talking before we went on the air that, you know, I'm a musician. I did home in studio recordings many decades ago. That's very different than what you and your generation are able to accomplish, and the professionalism, the polish, the style that you're able to get in 2019 in a home studio with these different software programs it just amazes me.
Yeah, and one of my, okay, so another thing too, for anybody who records their own music, like, you don't got to break the bank. I use the cheapest stuff. I use free plugins. I use a software called Reaper, and it's like $60 to buy the license for it, and I can make all types. I put out tons of records, you know, just using software that doesn't cost anything, you know.
Right.
So,
well, let's talk about some of the specific songs on the new EP, Love Yourself. You mentioned the song Clammy. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, so that song, it's about being in a relationship with someone, or, you know, yeah, okay, yeah, it's about being in a relationship. I was gonna try to extrapolate and be like, oh no, but you could take it this way. Anyways, no, it's about being in a relationship, and someone, so like not being emotionally like let into someone's what's really going on in their head, and the weird duality of like maybe them being open with you in like, you know, in a physical way, you know what I'm saying, but then also being so shut off in an emotional way, and you trying to in the song, I'm just, you know, I'm saying to this girl, you know, like, let me see what you have seen. That's one of the lines, you know, and just, you know, just, you want to know what's going on in your significant other's head, and it's just weird to be physically intimate with someone, but then emotionally you feel blocked, you know.
Okay.
Just pour your veins upon me. Let me see what you have seen. You left your stains upon me. So
How about the song Fight For You?
Okay, yeah, so I wrote that, I wrote this album I wrote it for myself, but also for a specific girl, because we had a thing, and it was a very good thing, and then I have this tendency to, I have trouble like letting myself be happy, you know, when things are like cool, like when there's no problems, I'm like, oh, what's, you know, I just start picking everything apart and trying to see what's wrong and all this. And so we had a little separation there for a couple months, and I wrote that song very short after I broke up with her, and it's just basically me saying, and the reason, and we're back together, you know, but the reason, one of the reasons we're back together is because I felt like I was like inescapably like there for that person, you know what I'm saying? No matter what situation they would find themselves in, whether we were like romantically involved or not. Like, you know, I was still going to be there for her, you know. So fight for you is just me saying, like, you know, in the chorus I say, you know, I would fight for you. I'm sorry I left so soon. No matter what life you choose, I'd fight for you, you know, because that's how I feel.
If I could love you half as much as I need myself, there'd be no dead reason that the sickness and hell. But I wouldn't fight for you. I'm sorry I left so soon. No matter what life you choose, I'd fight for you.
My guest is Matt Dixon, who records as Sugar Pills. His new EP is called Love Yourself. One more song I wanted to ask you about, and it's kind of got an interesting spelling, but it's pronounced Valerie.
Yeah.
V-A-L-L-O-R-Y. Tell us the story behind that song.
So I wrote that song when I was still like with her, like initially before the breakup, and it was just kind of like, you know, it's just kind of like an ode to a swell gal in swell times with a swell lady. And I think it's corny to use, you know, like name a song after a girl, like, so I misspelled her name.
'Cause I'm not saying it's stone, but I hope that I made you grow. Summer airs, the smell of latex and laying there. It takes the silhouettes on your breath.
In listening to your songs, they don't have necessarily the standard song structure of verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Is that intentional?
It's completely unintentional. I don't know what happens when I write songs. They just come out. I wrote like 12 songs for this record, but and recorded a good deal of them, probably about 5 others. But it's always the ones that aren't like super premeditated that just like happen that are the best. And every single song on that record just happened. You know, like I was just sitting with the guitar, or I had like some lyrical ideas, and I just, you know, yeah. So and for me, it's really important to get across what I'm trying to say, like lyrically and like thematically. So that's usually what the song structures like go around. You know, like I want to make sure that in the verse I get out what I want to say. I want to make sure the chorus, you know, yeah. So it just kind of happens.
Well, what's the future for you? What's for plans for 2019 and beyond?
So the album or the EP comes out February 10th. And then my original comrade, Mr. Calvin Rollins, who I started the band with, he's coming back to Arkansas, back to Jonesboro. He defunct and went to Utah in early August, and yeah, it just hadn't been the same without him. So now that he's coming back within the next month, we're gonna really start to like get rolling on live shows, and I'm really excited to get out and play again, and hopefully book a tour or something this summer, get things rolling.
I've seen that you've played in a variety of different groups and with Calvin as Sugar Pills in a lot of different places around Jonesboro and the area before.
Yeah. I've been in the music scene for a long time, like since I was probably like 14, 15. You know, it just takes a while to get your footing and get your name around. But I've played, you know, all types of places in Jonesboro. There's not too many places to play, but you know, Cregan's is always great. Play there tons. I played Brick House a couple times. You know, Skinny J's, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
It goes on.
Well, what's fun about playing live for you?
Man, for a long time when I very first, because I never sang until Sugar Pills, because I was just an instrumentalist, and for a long time it was not fun, you know, because I didn't have very good vocal control, and it's still something that I'm getting better at, but I feel so much more confident now. Also, just finding your voice. I have a pretty low voice,
I'm listening to you thinking you have such a pleasant speaking voice. I mean, get you on the radio more often. Yeah, yeah.
But that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's like learning how to use your voice.
Yeah, I always equate it to like, a guitar amp. You have to have way less power to make it as loud as you would a bass amp. You have to have so much more wattage, and so like for a big bass voice, you really got to push so much more, know. And so also just trying to like make music also in the keys that you can sing in, but that suits your voice,
Right.
And I'd never done that before. What I love about playing live is just just seeing the reaction. Obviously, like what any corny thing people can say about playing live, they love the energy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you said February 10th, the CD, the EP will actually be available. Digital downloads, is that how you're going to be selling that?
Yeah. If I get enough requests, I'll make some CDs too. But we're in such a weird time with streaming and all that. Some people have gone to just selling USB sticks at their merch tables with the songs and like a photo on them, but and people love vinyl too,
Right.
But vinyl is very expensive, and there's a whole cassette resurgence, like that's crazy. But definitely digital download. I'll figure out what physical copies I want to put out later.
Any plans for a release party or anything to celebrate the completion and the availability of Love Yourself?
Man, I hope somebody throws me a party, but I don't know exactly when in the month my buddy Calvin's coming back next month.
Right.
He's still got some things he's got to figure out. But if he's back, we'll definitely kick it, and we'll definitely. I don't know. I'm not a super big partier. I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty reclusive.
Maybe instead of a CD release party, a CD release celebration.
Yeah, I'll probably just hang out with my girlfriend.
Well, thanks for coming in. It's a very unique project, and I thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk and to share it with some of our listeners here at KASU.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Matt Dixon of Jonesboro. He performs and records as Sugar Pills. He's just completed a new EP titled Love Yourself. It'll be available as a digital download next month. You can learn more about Matt and his music at his website, sugarpills.com, and that's spelled SHUGARPILLS.com, sugarpills.com.